And when you talk about Paul Hendricks saying that a 2-2 series lead, or a 2-2 series and Game 5 winner is won 19 of 20 times.
Sheldon Keefe knows it well, you can bet, as he leads his Toronto Marlies into this 5th game. 3 games in a row here in Texas, as it started with 2 in Toronto, and it shifts back to Toronto on Tuesday. Derek Laxdal has been in championship games before, and he has come out the winner. He has got a couple of more to try and win if he hopes to take home a Calder Cup and bring one back to Texas. We are ready to go here. Game number 5. Heroes are created in hockey on Saturday nights. We'll see who comes out victorious in this game number 5 of the Calder Cup final. Sent into the Texas zone and then right back down the ice for Toronto as Marty Marincin comes back and grabs it up for the icing call straight off the hop.
Well, both coaches, I spoke with each of them today, and the question I posed to Sheldon Keefe, I said, Toronto Marlies win Game 5 because of what? And the same question to Derek Laxdal, the Texas Stars win Game 5 because of what? And it was unbelievable that both coaches almost said verbatim, and it talked about special teams, obviously got to be critical, and you've just got to make sure you create chances by working and having puck possession in the offensive zone.
Well, that is lifted out and back down the ice. That'll be picked up for icing as well and brought back one more time. The 3-goal mark seems to be a bit of a magic one as far as the games have been, and when you play defensive hockey, that is definitely a bit of a key. If you can find a way to get 3 goals, you have to believe that defensively these two clubs have the ability to limit that amount of goals.
Yeah, you're right about that, and Sheldon Keefe made a point of if we can score 3 goals, we should be able to win a hockey game, and Derek Laxdal felt the same, as the Marlies are 10-0 if they score 3 or more goals here in the Calder Cup playoffs.
Back up high, Mangine winds up side of the goal, high tip it goes, and it is picked up by Colin Greening, knocked off his stick. Along the near side, the body's flying early here for the Stars, but here comes Gauthier and Hall, and the tune interrupted from Hall and Goat. McKenzie comes right back, shot on as Sparks hangs on to that one just a minute, 1 second in.
Well, and to finish my thought, the Texas Stars 8-1 when they score 3 or more goals in a game here also in the Calder Cup playoffs. So both these teams, you're right, if they can get their offense working to give their club 3 goals offensively, chances of winning dramatically improve.
Janssen comes in to work the draw, rolls back toward the goal, and in behind it comes on the wraparound and screams back up to the point. Shot, side of the goal. Sparks throws out the glove, and at the side of the goal, another chance. Dowling moving it back up. Regner cross ice, looking in, long shot, and again close in tight as Sparks tries to play it away. Loose out front, and to the boards it comes as Travis Morin sends it back to Regner, and he missed on it. And now Janssen on the breakaway, in on McKenna. Backhand scores! Andreas Janssen, a minute 32 in on a breakaway misplay at the blue line by Regner, and the Marlies go up 1-0 in game number 5.
Well, the Texas Stars with all kinds of pressure in the offensive zone, and then the puck comes out to the point. Brett Regner mishandles the puck, and Andreas Janssen off to the races, and the speedy Swede, you're not going to catch him in that situation, and he makes no mistake as he outlegs Regner, and on the far side Dickinson trying to catch him to no avail, and he fakes the shot, goes to the backhand, and he chips it over that left pad of the goaltender Mike McKenna, and the second goal in 2 games for Andreas Janssen has staked the Marlies out to a 1-0 advantage.
Back up at the blue line, Moore keeps it in. Hence a touch, and Nielsen is able to shovel it back to Adam Brooks, right by both Nielsen and Moore, as Marchment trying to get to that, played back into the Toronto zone, and Sparks comes out to move it quickly. Nielsen and Hall playing together at the moment. as Moore moves it across the line. Mason Marchman steps into it. He's got it on the backhand, leads it down for Moore, gets it back, tries to send it back out. Brooks gathers it in, on goal, scores! Moore! Right in the feet of McKenna, and the Marlies quickly out to a 2-0 lead. That was Moore. This is Moore.
2 minutes and 19 seconds in, the Toronto Marlies with another goal. And this time, Trevor Moore with a terrific job. But this fourth line for the Toronto Marlies, and Sheldon Keefe said to me this morning, you know, the fourth line has been dominating over the course of much of the series, but they haven't been able to get on the board and get a big goal for the hockey club. If they can do that tonight, that's going to really give us a big boost. And don't they do it after Janssen's initial goal. Trevor Moore gets that next one, and it's a 2-0 advantage here for Toronto, less than 3 minutes in.
Back into the corner it goes. It's Smith working it back up the wall. He gets it loose. Timashov backs up, and he plays it up ahead through center, but it doesn't get to Mueller. As he comes back over the boards, Mueller is able to capture it and bring it back across the blue line. Smith toward the goal, but it goes off the stick and back out. Now here comes L'Esperance, a wobbler in on Sparks, and he plays it back up ice. And he thought he might catch somebody coming off the bench on a change, I think. Scarlett down into the corner, Gauthier after it. Here's Greening, he takes a look up ice and taps it back. Long pass ahead, it bounces by Pierre Engvall, and that is going to be picked up on the icing call. Boy, you barely got into your seats at the Real Sports watching party up in Toronto, and the Marlies up 2-0.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You know, when we came into the building here this evening, Todd, we spoke of, you know, the Marlies in round number 2 and round number 3. They made a statement game on the road in that first game. And here in game number 3 in Texas, I felt like it was one of those games where I think the Marlies have a chance to maybe break out. They had a short practice today at the practice facility here in Texas, and they looked sharp. And they felt really loose.
And McKenna makes the save, and Engvall gets in to some negotiating out front of the goaltender.
And you know, the Marlies yesterday took the day off, and they had that little skate here this morning. And the Texas Stars yesterday off, no skate today, and maybe on their heels a little bit to get their legs going at the right time in this hockey game. And as a result, the Toronto Marlies have banged 2 in past Mike McKenna. And this is something that they are a dangerous club when you give them some opportunities. But throughout this series, they've had a tough time getting in tight and finishing around the goalkeeper. And Moore's goal to make 2-0 was just what the doctor ordered for the Toronto Marlies. 47 seconds apart, the 2 goals. Altonen comes in to take the draw against Justin Dowling to the glove side of McKenna. He's allowed to take that one. He's been tossed out of the circle more than a couple of times in this series. And back through the middle, Travis Morin works to the outside, drops it back. Dowling hangs on, and then he drops it back. Hetherington, long one, misses on the far side as Grundstrom works it in amongst his skates. Picking it up, Grundstrom leading it back out, and boy, Dowling got a mid on that, and he had to. Altonen was in behind. Here's Morin winding his way over the blue line and down deep into the corner, backhander toward the goal. Rosen in the middle of it. 2 Stars fall, and so does Rosen, and back out it comes, where Morin gets it back for the Stars, working it to Regner. Onto the backhand of McKenzie. He steps to Johnson. Janssen comes right to him. Backhander through the crease and out the other side. To the near side, Janssen. A couple of Stars get after it there, including Rope Hintz. Loverde trying to get it back up and out of the zone. Capturing it is Brooks through the middle, still working to it. Adam Brooks following it up more. Brooks turns around looking for help, feeding it over to Marchman. Looks in, shoots, and it goes off some bodies out front. Marchman turns around and throws another one at the goal, and he got it up near the chest of McKenna. It dropped right into his glove. I'll tell you, that was a lot more dangerous looking than you think it was. And the Marlies' fourth line again buzzing in this Texas Stars zone. And Trevor Moore, who scored the goal to make it a 2-0 hockey game, and the line, his line mates Mason Marchman and Adam Brooks doing a terrific job here trying to get that next goal here for Toronto, as the Stars really only getting a push from that top line of theirs, who have been responsible for 8 of the 11 goals that the Stars have scored through the first 4 games. Everybody else, and Derek Laxdell speaking of needing some secondary scoring from his hockey club if they want to beat this Toronto team.
Here's Brooks, looks in, shoots in amongst the feet, and knocked back into the corner. Brooks again sends it back to Marchment. He tries to drag it out front, has to escape back to the near side. Marchment up along to Marty Marincin, lifts one to the goal, and it goes off bodies as Marchment comes back to it again. He throws one at McKenna, under siege here in the early going. Mike McKenna, as Marchment comes back, Liljegren forces it down into the corner. Mangine steps away, knocked off his stick by Ben Smith, and Ellie is able to get to it, but then a bad pass. Timashov sends it deep in again as Smith, waiting for support from the bench, picks it up and sends it around behind. Timashov lets it go. Mueller coming after it in the corner. It is kept in at the line over to the far side. Bayreuther finally gets it back out for the Stars, and Ellie sends it down into the Toronto zone.
Well, Toronto gets the change ahead of the Texas Stars and continues to apply the pressure. Stars now get some fresh bodies.
Hetherington playing it back up. Hall kicks it down into the corner. Smith trying to come back after it. Austin fighting to it, and he sends it back down the ice. This one will come back for icing as Nielsen comes back, and a little touch there. They'll bring this one all the way back into the Texas zone. Andrew Nielsen into the game here for Travis Dermott.
Well, you know, I got a chance to chat with him a little bit this morning, and he was like a kid in a candy store knowing that he was coming back into the lineup. And it's unfortunate, you know, you never like to see one of your teammates go down, but it's his opportunity and next man up, and he's the guy, and he's looking forward to this challenge here and having a big game to help his club get to within one victory of a Calder Cup championship.
Funny hop off the stanchion there and played back out. Janssen goes racing after it. He beats out the man Hetherington, and then into the end boards. Janssen knocked down. Grunstrom pricks it up, centering, and it's blocked as Regner got his leg in the way of that one. Grunstrom battling for it out of the corner, rolls in towards McKenna. Hit back up high. It drops behind Janssen. To it is Altonen. Looks cross ice and then sends one up high into the glass. It stays in. Looked like that one was going over the wall. And back out come the Stars. Lifted down into the zone as they have to make a change. Loverde. You mentioned Andrew Nielsen's family and attendance have been through the series here in Texas. That goes off of Greening's skate. So he retreats with it, now under a little bit of pressure. Loverde lifts it back up and out. Now Engvall goes racing after it, holding his man off of it. Scarlett trying to get position. McKenzie steps to it and lifts it back out. Justin Hall moving it over to Marty Marincin. Greening across the line, and a late whistle on an offside. 12:28 left to go in this first period as the Toronto Marlies leading 2-0 over the Texas Stars with 2 quick goals.
Toronto, and 47 seconds later, the fourth line here of the Toronto Marlies, the shot by Adam Brooks and the rebound put back by Trevor Moore, his 6th of the Calder Cup playoffs at 2:19. The Toronto Marlies have that 2-0 advantage with 12:23 to play here in the first period. Shots favoring the Marlies 7-2 at this point as the Texas Stars are trying to get their game back in order and fight back here against a tough Toronto Marlies club.
In for the draw, Brooks, as he faces Rope Hintz. Here's a chance. Moore turns around and sends one toward the goal off the pads of McKenna. Hall right back to it. Pass to Brooks. Marincin comes deep. After it, Marchment behind the goal, centering it back out. Marincin waits, looks, and was hoping to find Marchment. Out, up high. Marchment again. Moore, side of the goal, off the goaltender, and Moore sends it back, finding Hall. Looks in and tried to ease it to Moore. Chips it along the boards. Marchment right back to it. Cross ice, he's got help, but it doesn't get there. Moore looks back again. steps away from his man, and it's knocked off his stick, and racing back goes Marincin. As a great play by Timashov to follow it up and take away any chance from Hintz.
Wow, terrific job at getting back on the play by Dmytro Timashov as the Marlies scramble back in a hurry. But again, in the offensive zone like that, 5 feet inside the line, you've got to be careful with the puck. And Trevor Moore almost gets stripped and a break going the other way, but the Marlies scramble back.
In the corner, there's Dmytro Timashov on the ice and back up at the blue line. Played in by Ellie. Sparks high off the glass. Took a funny hop and a good one for the Marlies as Mueller was able to get along to Timashov. Broken up. And now Ellie back. Loverde in front of him. Sparks rips it down with 10:47 left to play. And now a little extra how do you do out front.
Well, the officials talking like waiting for somebody to do something silly and put their club down, and cooler heads prevail, and we're going to continue on. But we'll see the turnover by Trevor Moore, and Adam Brooks gets on his horse to get back, and he ends up stripping the puck off the stick of Rope Hintz and doesn't allow the Stars any kind of opportunity offensively after the turnover by the Toronto Marlies.
Frederick Gauthier in to take the draw. Turning back out of the corner, Moore with a centering pass, but it is Engvall who is the recipient. Turning it around, Dowling. Gauthier comes back. He's going to work back with Loverde, who drops it back. Here comes Frederick Gauthier. Knocks it in across the line. McKenna gets a touch to it and then waits on it. Plays it back up along the near side. Able to keep it in is Greening. Throws one toward the goal. And a hand pass called here as Engvall's had enough of McKenzie. And he gave him a little shot there at the end of the play as McKenzie was in his grill. And Greening counseling Engvall. Take it easy. That's what he's trying to get you to do. To get you to take a penalty.
That's something also where this big line of Gauthier, Engvall, and Greening have been assigned here to try and keep this top line of the Texas Stars in check. And if you can get under the skin of the captain, Curtis McKenzie, that goes a long ways towards helping your club win, because that line has been the most dangerous by far and have created everything for the Texas Stars as far as offense is concerned so far in this series.
Almost looked frozen in time. Janssen and Ellie, after the draw, they were tangled up, I think, a little bit. Back off the wall. Altonen gets in the way of it. Marincin sends it ahead. Sheldon Dries to it as Dickinson sends one down around behind the goal. A little tip by Marincin. And up ice it goes. Gets by everybody, and McKenna has to play it. It was on goal. Screaming back, Ellie. Pass into the Toronto zone. Janssen able to pick it up. He's got room. Janssen cuts back to the middle, still with it. Lifts it down into the corner, and that line will go off.
Well, Andreas Janssen, terrific speed, and you see his ability to elude checkers to get that puck deep.
L'Esperance leans in, off of Sparks, loose out front, and boy, the Stars couldn't get to that one, but they had a whole lot of room. Brooks going to the goal. Here's Marchman looking in. Brooks out front, and it went off him, but not toward the goal. Nielsen looks in, draws in, shoots, and Nielsen, it comes back off the boards. He's got to get back to it, and L'Esperance is able to play it back as Moore sends it right back through the middle. Tipped in by Brooks. Right back up and out. Austin fighting. He's got Justin Hall in front of him. He squeezes him to the boards. The shot doesn't get past Ben Smith. And now Adam Brooks sharply looking for Nielsen. Gets by him. Mangine. Hall comes in, steals it away from Hintz. Timashov steps away from one. Comes back through the middle. Timashov down into the far corner. Comes out front, and Timashov with a wide open cage. Couldn't lock it down. Back over. Timashov again on the backhand. Turns back on the forehand. Lost the puck, and it's cleared. Boy, the Marlies came very close to making it 3-0.
Wow, and that just, a good heads-up play by Timashov on the dump-in. It eludes the goaltender, McKenna, and Chris Mueller picks up this puck in the backhand, and he almost puts it exactly on the tape of Timashov, and if he gets that flat, it could have been a 3-0 advantage Toronto. So the Stars dodge a bit of a bullet right there as the Marlies were knocking on the door.
Liljegren back over out front and onto the pads of McKenna. It comes back up along the near side. This one will go back down the ice, but not with a lot of steam on it as Marincin grabs it up and looks ahead. Drop back. Ultanen skates into it. Comes back through the middle, lifts it in, down into the far corner. Gets slowed up a little bit. Gives Hetherington a touch. Johnsson out front shoots, and Johnsson comes bouncing back out front, and McKenna leaps on it to keep it out of the goal. And some extra conversation at the end of it. 7:49 left to go here in period one. Marlies up 2-0.
Well, Andreas Johnsson, who scored the opening goal here for the Toronto Marlies, now has 8 goals and 18 points here in 14 games in the Calder Cup playoffs. And he almost gets his second of the night here as he's going to pick this puck up after Grundstrom gives him that quick little short pass, and on the stick and off in a hurry by Johnsson, he tries to go up and over the blocking glove of the goaltender Mike McKenna. He gets a piece of it, and then it goes off the glass and back almost out front as McKenna scrambles to get the face-off.
Brooks kicks it over to Hall, back up to Moore again. Looks in, shoots, and that didn't miss by a whole lot. Back into the corner. Brooks back to Marchment, trying to step back out. Moore on the backhand. It scrambles on him a little bit as Moore comes back. Hangs on. Marchment wanted the shot. Stick knocked out of the hand of the defender, Regner. Along for Moore. He carries it. He's tripped up, but that's not going to be a call in a game 5. Brooks leading it back up to the line. Marchment. Brooks knocked down. Long shot out front, and it dribbles wide of the mark. Moore was looking for it, but he couldn't get there. And back come the Stars. Dickinson, long one. Sparks reaches out and snags it with 7:06 left on the clock in period number 1. This is the first 2-goal lead the Marlies have had in this series.
Well, you're right about that. And Garrett Sparks, sensing that, clock management and knowing what your team is doing through the course of the game is so important for a goaltender. And Sparks realizes that that line had been in the offensive zone, with lots of pressure, and then the Stars come down the long shot, but they've got some fresh bodies coming up the ice, so he squeezes it to get the whistle to make sure that the Toronto Marlies, will have 5 fresh bodies out on the ice here for the defensive zone faceoff.
Gauthier in his feet. Loverde spins as he sees it crawl by him. Moves it back for Rosen. Up ice, Gauthier chips it, but that one's a souvenir with less than 7 minutes left to go. And McKenzie, a little bit of an argument here about where this one is, but it's tipped up out in the neutral zone. What the conversation is about, I'm not 100% sure. The referees in this one tonight, Pierre Lambert and Chris Schlenker.
Well, and we've got another sellout crowd here deep in the heart of Texas. And hockey is strong for sure here, and they love their Stars. And this has been a terrific series, and I'm sure it's going to continue right to the bitter end. But Toronto with the 2-0 advantage here in period number 1.
Every game's been a sellout in this series. Greening, turning around, they got a piece of it. And now McKenzie sends it in. Loverde and Dowling meet up along the far boards, and it's picked up by Greening. He and Gauthier out with Johnsson, and Greening sends it back over. Marincin backs up. He's going to wait this one out. Greening goes to the bench. Mueller, Timashov, and Smith. Handed over to Mangine. Timashov after it. Smith working his way back to the corner. Mangine able to move it back. Bayreuther up along the glass and out. It gets by everybody. Actually gave a touch to the linesman. Liljegren plays it off the boards, and Smith back in, just a touch across the line. Liljegren will pound it along. Smith got the brunt of it, and it comes right back out. Mueller to it as the Stars play it ahead, but they don't get far with it. Timashov across the line. Beyond the stick of Smith. Along the boards, it comes back to Liljegren, and he lifts it down into the corner. Timashov from behind the goal. He's got Altonen out front. Plays it back. Nielsen off of McKenna, and it's screened past Ben Smith as it comes back down around for Timashov. Altonen now. Little tip behind. Bayreuther picks it up for the Stars and looks back up high. He just decides he's got to dump it out as Andrew Nielsen comes back. Flynn looking for him. He puts his stick in a lane and gives him only one choice. Janssen back in, waits, cuts in out front, tipped up but over the goal. And Grundstrom on the backhand, trying to muscle his way back toward the goal. Down he goes. Hetherington down as well. Janssen comes after it. And now the crowd insistent that there should be a penalty, but they don't come at no price. And Nielsen spun out of it. If that's not a penalty, and not a lot that's going to be. In towards Sparks. And he hangs on to that one. Whistles are at a premium here for a Game 5 of the Calder Cup final, as maybe they should be. We'll be back with more Scotiabank Toronto Marlies playoff hockey.
The 118th U.S. Open on TSN. Presented by Asante. The 118th U.S. Open on TSN. Presented by Asante Wealth Management. Be well advised.
Well, there's the time lapse. That's this afternoon as they converted it from graduation to goals. And they did a pretty good job of it, I got to tell you.
They did a fantastic job, no question. The ice looked great before the game, and puck's been laying pretty flat so far in this one.
Face-off, glove side of Garrett Sparks. Brooks wins it, and along goes Hall after it. He pushes it up the boards. It doesn't get back out, but Marincin is able to get there. Here's Adam Brooks trying to feed along the Marchment in through the feet of the defender. Moore turns around. He's got some screen out front. He was hoping to find Marchment on the backside. Shot on McKenna. He got it where he likes it.
Well, this line has been tremendous again here tonight for the Toronto Marlies. And Mike McKenna.
That'll be picked up on the icing call and brought all the way back as we have less than 4 minutes to go here in the first period.
Well, and Toronto's done a very good job again of protecting the red line. And what they've done is they've converged. They've cut the ice in half and then protect that red line so that the Stars have had to chip pucks in from back behind their red line, and as a result guilty of icing for probably the fourth time at least here in period number one.
Marincin got through him. He wanted to ease it in toward either Grundstrom or Altonen. Played in across the line. Janssen goes after it as the puck gets away from the defender. Janssen back out front, and it just got away from Carl Grundstrom. Here's Morin. The crowd knows when he's got it as he leads it into the far side for McKenzie. He works out of the corner, knocked away by Altonen. Marincin protecting there as it comes back up to Regner. Hetherington long shot off the glass, and Janssen whacks it back out, and it skitters down into the Texas zone. Hetherington back in across the line. Here's Dowling lifting one up and over the snowbank with 3:08 left to go in the first period.
Well, Justin Dowling, who had the game-winning goal on Thursday evening, to tie this series at 2 games apiece. He had a goal and assist, and he's been tremendous, no question, as 2 goals, 6 points in the 4 games in this series for the Texas Stars. And 17 points on that line in the 11 goals that they've scored in this series. That trio has been involved, has scored 8 of them, and have 17 points collectively between the 3.
Engvall. He got it back to Rosen as he's back out with Greeny and Gauthier. Here's Engvall easing it in. He didn't get a touch to it. Looked like he got it on the near boards. He didn't. They'll bring it all the way back. Yes.
Well, Vincent Laverde trying to hit Engvall cross ice, and it just skipped over his stick. And as a result, we'll get back to the Toronto zone as they are guilty of icing this time. As Derek Laxdal, the head coach of this Texas Stars club, I'm sure not liking what he's seen so far through this first 17 minutes and 5 seconds.
Well, that one didn't look anything like the officials wanted it to, so they'll reset everybody with some harsh warnings. Morin sends it back to the line. Stars win the draw. Comes back up. Morin at the line. He played it right back in as they were offside. Allows the Marlies to get a hold of it. Rosen right back to Loverde. Hard up to Engvall. It's across the line, but Bayreuther is able to get right back to it. Off the glass. Greening keeps it in and then works it back down the boards. He gets slowed up just a little bit. Morin again. Back up. Here's Loverde at the point. Sends it in, and it's tipped off into the near corner. Engvall gets a hold of it there. Turns around. Looks in toward goal. Out front. It goes off a skate and is lifted all the way back down the ice. And once again, this one will be picked up for icing as the Stars trying to keep the Marlies off their goaltender.
Well, and you know, when the opposition gets the first couple of goals like Toronto had, some of the Texas Stars, they're chasing the game now. And as a result, though, Toronto has been first on all the loose pucks, and they continue to have that offensive zone time. And even if you're not scoring that next goal, you're forcing the Texas Stars to have to come a long ways to try and get some offense going for themselves to try and get back into this game.
And Jean, backhander. Down the ice, coming to it, Marincin. They thought they had McKenzie, and now McKenzie runs into Marincin. Timashov with one on goal. And now Smith trying to get it back over to Mueller. They'll come over to investigate. Austin Clayton in the middle of that, and Joel L'Esperance. Smith lost his stick, actually got it back, and now Mueller will fight for it behind the goal, trying to get loose. Mueller kicks it along to Ben Smith. Turns back, finds Mueller behind the goal. He steps out, puck left behind, and Mueller knocked down on the play. Off a body, Timashov. He's got Mueller if he can get to the puck and find a handle on it, and Ben Smith does. The Marlies keep it in, but Mueller, he was standing there all alone out front. That would have been interesting.
Well, second effort this last shift here by all three guys on that line, and as a result, the Stars again can't get out of their own zone.
Adam Brooks. Long one up ice. Marchman, a touch under his stick. Last minute to play in the first period. Brooks turns around. He tries to bang it back over to Marchman, who's out front. Rosen, blitz, one fly. And over to Hall. Back into the corner it goes, and Regner is there behind his goaltender to pick it up. At the line, can't keep it in. Rosen, a little tip back along. Markison able to find Ellie, who's got a step. Cuts in, backhand, sent it wide. Hetherington after it again as Brooks gets a hold of it. Now Rosen up onto the stick of Mason Marchment and cross ice. Brooks with a little bit of speed across the line, throws one toward the goal, hits the end boards, and McKenna comes out of his goal and swipes at the puck, picking it up with less than 20 seconds to play in the first period.
Well, the Texas Stars survive a couple of pushes again here by the Marlies, looking for that third goal, and then they get an offensive opportunity themselves. And that last one, Remy Ellie with some good speed, the left shot coming down that right side. He gets forced to his backhand. He tries to get that puck at the goal, but ends up going short side wide, and we'll have a face-off in the Texas zone with 18.9 seconds to play here in period number one.
Miro Altonen in against Brian Flynn. And Flynn is showing the exit. Hintz. And now Altonen off the draw. Altonen races to it, lost his stick. Lifted back out and down the ice. It is picked up. Flynn leaves it back. Shot! Up! And out of play with less than 10 seconds to play. A chance on a broken play, but a chance nonetheless. It does not end up on goal.
Well, Jason Dickinson is the last guy to come into the zone, but the long bomb pass, the Marlies, Marlies looks like he's going to pick it up after it hits Flynn's stick, but it goes right to the Texas Stars, and then the drop pass to the trailing man, Jason Dickinson, but when he goes to shoot it, the Marlies have the stick in the lane, and it gets deflected up and over the glass.
7.9 seconds left. And Mueller. Greening has taken a lot of draws in his career. Sometimes you drop him in the middle of it, and it's okay. And now, after it, Mueller, and no call, but Mueller picks it up. Janssen to the net. Janssen couldn't get the shot away as they could not pick it up. And boy, you talk about whistles being put away right there in the regular season. That is interference. 2-0 the score after 20 minutes of play from here in Cedar Park, Texas. We welcome you to Cedar Park, Texas. The Toronto Marlies with a 2-0 lead over the Texas Stars after one period of play. Their task now to continue to play the way they have. Gauthier out front, and it comes through the blue paint to Martin Marincin, looking to throw it back out, and that glances, I think, off the pad of McKenna, and around into the far corner it rolls, lifted back to the blue line. Marlies don't waste time in getting it back, and Marincin throws it side of the goal. McKenna pokes it into the corner. He didn't want anything to do with that, and it's lifted back up, and it bounces in front of Justin Hall, and Hall comes right back to it. A chance shot by Ellie, but he doesn't get a good clean one away, and now Engvall works back with Justin Hall, who tosses it in behind the goal of Mike McKenna. A little whack off the boards, and they'll send it back for a little bit more time in the oven. Hetherington picks it up, and here come the Stars. Hintz knocked off his stick. They don't get far as Altonen plays it to Smith, who comes across the line. Janssen steps in. Smith knocked down out front. Shot right in the pads of McKenna as the Marlies get a great scoring opportunity.
Well, just a minute and change here into period number 2, and the Toronto Marlies exit their zone and then head back to the offensive zone themselves. And a couple quick passes, Ben Smith to Janssen, and then it's Miro Altonen, who's the third guy coming late. He gets the puck from Janssen, and a golden opportunity, and Mike McKenna does an excellent job of tracking the puck and then coming out and to the top of the blue paint and cutting the angle down and swallowing up the puck.
Back up, here's Loverde at the blue line. He keep it in, he did. Round behind it goes, and up along the near boards, Rosen and Mueller. It bounces over. Smith picks it up from there. He centered it back out, but Dickinson in the way. He sends it into the corner again as Flynn picks it up, and he puts it off the boards. And it is back out into center, racing to it, Loverde. Back into the Toronto zone, put there by Mueller, that, however, and now a long pass up through center. It was intended for Timashov, way up at the opposing blue line. It didn't get there. Bayreuther steps across the blue line, slices down the wall, cross ice, looking for McKenzie on the back side, but it bounced on him, and now Dowling working to it. Comes back up the wall, finds some help. Mangine shot, and that one just dribbles wide as it's lifted back out into center, and that's the best and closest chance the Stars have had.
Well, you talk about a game of inches. That shows full exactly how close it can be as the puck squirts past Justin Dowling and just gets by that left goal post past Garrett Sparks, and the Stars that close to cutting into the Toronto lead.
Take a look. This is
Mangine with the shot, and all kinds of traffic out in front of Garrett Sparks, and I don't know if that hits Laverde or Sparks gets a piece of it, but you know, you've got Curtis McKenzie standing there as well, and the puck just squirts by about 6 inches past that left goal post in the Toronto zone.
Sparks, I think, got a piece of that. Marincin up ice. He was hoping to find Trevor Moore. Didn't get there. Now back it comes. Sparks protects that one as Marincin steps out from the near side. Moore got by everybody. In fact, it'll travel the length of the ice and be picked up on the icing call. Boy, I don't know if there's many tickets left for Tuesday night's Game 6, but 416-597-PUCK is the number you better call and sort yourself out. You'll want to be at Ricoh Coliseum for sure. Adam Brooks up against Dowling. Stick side of Garrett Sparks. The conversation from the linesman, the direction, and Travis Moore keeps it in. Drawing in tight, hard shot. That's a screaming shot that comes back down the ice. Picked off by Brooks. He waits for Moore to get onside and comes in across the blue line.
Well, Reese Scarlett with that shot. He's trying to be pinpoint accurate instead of just getting it on goal and forcing the goaltender Garrett Sparks to come up with a save.
Bodnerchuk sends it in deep. Scarlett behind his goal. He plays it up along the boards, trying to keep it in with Marincin. It's lifted back into the Toronto zone where Hall is able to get to it. Morin with a touch, falls, and then a whack on Sparks as he goes by. Here's Hall, back over Greening, rips one just wide. Here's Gauthier. Back to it. Hetherington and Greening gets it loose. Gauthier on the backhand, up high. Rosen at the line, walks it, shoots, and he was hoping to catch anybody out front, but not as heavy as he did, as it is lifted off the glass and out of play.
Well, Calle Rosen, who scored the game-winning goal in game number 3, I think that he's really had a terrific playoff. There's no question about it. And a goal and an assist in this series coming into game number 5 here today. And terrific skater, and he has really gained confidence since he's, probably the last 15 games of the regular season. It's like, making the adjustment of coming back down from the National Hockey League and, getting yourself back in order. And he's been dominant so far in this Calder Cup playoff run for the Marlies.
There he is, giving the puck a bit of a touch. Looking for that centering pass, back up high towards the goal, and Sparks gets to the post quickly. But a good chance by Regner. Now Liljegren in a bit of a joust at the side of the goal. And talk about guys who have learned the game at a fast pace. Liljegren, he got rocked the other night in the game, and he got right back up, right back into it. He's turning into a bit of a tough customer in his young age.
You know what? I love what I've seen from this kid. And, first-round draft pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs just this past June in 2017, the 17th overall pick, the youngest player in the American Hockey League at 18 years of age. And, he got rocked a few times early in the season, and then he learned what it was all about, and maybe not hanging onto the puck so long. And
here's a hard shot toward the goal, score! Shot, and he gets the Stars into it here in the second period. 4:06 in.
Well, you win an offensive zone face-off and you give yourself the opportunity, and that's exactly what the Stars do. And the draw won by Flynn, and then sent back to the point right in the middle of the ice is Gavin Bayreuther, and he makes no mistake off the far goal post and past the outstretched glove of Garrett Sparks, and the Texas Stars have closed the gap. It's a 2-1 hockey game on Bayreuther's third of the Calder Cup playoffs and second of this series.
A big jump for the Stars. They needed it. Gauthier knocks it back the other way. That'll put some fire in the belly. And the Stars send it back into the Toronto zone. Back off the wall. Toward the goal, it comes back out for Greening. He's got some space as he taps it along for Pierre Engvall. Off his stick. Mangine goes after it. So does Engvall into the corner. Back up along the near side. Justin Hall getting there, but first Dickinson. He turns around and creates a little separation. Leaves it back. Bodnerchuk toward the goal, and Sparks grabs that one up. And the crowd is suddenly back into this hockey game as well here in Texas, a sold-out group in Cedar Park.
Well, the Toronto Marlies quieted the crowd very early in this hockey game, and they didn't have much to cheer about through the course of the first 20 minutes of play. But now here in the second period, you win a face-off in the offensive zone, you get it back to the point, and Bayreuther with a terrific shot that eludes the goaltender Garrett Sparks, and he scored the game-winning goal in game number 2 on a power play by the Stars in the third period at the Ricoh Coliseum. Has now got his second.
Warren out front, falling, and McKenzie in tight, and he doesn't often miss from there. And now sharp movement. Hetherington, long one. Off into the far corner. Janssen coming back to it. He picks it up. He's got Grundstrom, but he is slowed down. And into the corner goes McKenzie. Rolls behind, looking for that centering pass to Dowling. Tip back up the boards. Right hard back in. It is picked up by Mueller, and Grundstrom trying to get to it. Chasing it up. Dowling back in. There goes McKenzie. The crowd knows what they can do. Rosen back out for Moore. Off his stick. Marchment to it. Rosen across the line. And it gets by everybody and comes all the way back as Justin Hall picks it up. Cross ice. Loverde back up and all the way back down the ice. That one will come back on the icing call. The ebb and flow of this series has worked its way into this hockey game as the Texas Stars now having a surge.
No question about it. You get that adrenaline boost when you score a goal and you get the crowd involved here, and you can feel the energy in the building come back in as the Stars now just trail by a goal. 14:03 to go here in the second period of play.
Adam Brooks. A little dig for Flynn, and he wants an explanation. He's not going to get one, or not much of one. He's just asked to step aside. Dickinson off the draw, comes back, and down the wall they come. The Stars looking on the back side, and Sparks got a touch on as it was coming across through his crease.
Wow, Dickinson was right there on the doorstep at the top of the blue paint.
Dickinson right on top of him. Loverde casual with it, and Dickinson picks it up. Moving back over, Bayreuther wants another shot, and this time it's off the skate. Played back up, Moore gets it back out, and Marchment takes some punishment. Back through the middle, cut off by Ben Smith, and across the line, Smith, Marchment, shot, and off. The goaltender it goes. Back the other way come the Stars. Mangine, a move that doesn't end up well for him. Into the corner, Nielsen battling for it. Comes loose, and Loverde is there to pick it up. He steps one way and back the other. Quickly had to move it. Timashov through the middle. He's got some help in Mueller right behind him. Timashov into a goal, and that one tickles the blue paint with a lot of space in front of it. Nielsen tried to play it, and now back protecting Liljegren as Nielsen comes back after it. Gurianov, the pace is quickened. Liljegren picks it up from here. Back over finding Smith. Mueller through the middle, trying to find some space. And Timashov over in the far corner, looking for outlet. Long pass or a shot off into the corner as Timashov looks in again at the goal mouth. Liljegren back to it. In toward the goal. Greening looks to get to it. Liljegren in toward goal. Mueller. Greening scores! Greening scores! And the Marlies go up 3-1 as they earn the goal back. Colin Greening puts it in the back of the goal.
Oh, the Toronto Marlies activating the defense, and Timothy Liljegren, he's going to get in and he's going to take the first shot. After Greening was in the corner, they pinch down and then they come up with it. And then Liljegren comes back, he takes the shot, it hits Mueller, and Mueller uses his skate to corral the puck, and he chips it to Greening, and the one-time shot beats McKenna, and the Toronto Marlies have gotten that 2-goal advantage back. It's now a 3-1 hockey game.
Gauthier. And back into the Toronto zone it comes. Hall back over. Marincin, far side. Engvall lost it in his skates as Marincin comes back forward. He tried to chip it back over to Hall, but Remieli in the middle of it. And now they're well off the boards, and it slides through the crease. Shot blocked out front. Engvall taps it back out, and it gives a little bit of respite here as Gauthier comes back through the middle. Across the line, Gauthier with that long reach of a stick. And it is taken away and back through the middle. Travis Morin deposits it back into the Toronto zone. Off the glass, Grundstrom came off funny, but wow, he got that one to Janssen, and he races in. Following on the play, Rosen steps in, waits, shoots, scores! Rosen makes it 4-1. What a rip by Calle Rosen.
Wow, what an outstanding play by the Toronto Marlies. And it's Andreas Janssen's speed to gain the offensive zone, and then he stops up. And again, it's the Toronto defense following up the play. And Calle Rosen's going to get this pass. He eludes one Texas defender, and then it's all by himself, one-on-one against the goalkeeper McKenna, and he puts it up and over the glove. And just like that, the Marlies have quieted this crowd big time again, and they've stretched their lead to 3. It's a 4-1 hockey game on Rosen's third goal of the Calder Cup playoffs.
Off the wall, and that one looked like it touched into the bench. Nielsen gave it a touch there, and it's offside, they say, but they're going to take it all the way back down the ice. I don't know if they're going to have a talk about that or not. They will. We'll figure it out by the time we come back. Marlies leading 4-1 here in Cedar Park, Texas.
Imagine a credit card that actually makes your life easier. A lot easier. And helps you get the stuff you want even sooner. That lets you buy big stuff and pay for it in small, bite-sized pieces. That's easy. With no fee and no interest financing every day. That's owning made easier. Introducing the Triangle MasterCards. With financing that helps you get the stuff you want. Life made easier.
What can we learn from the past? In this 306 horsepower history class, plenty. Over 50 years of racing glory distilled
Okay,
into...
this slow-mo is killing my lap time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, James. Celebrate our racing heritage at the Honda Checkered Flag event. Now lease a Civic sedan for only 0.99% for 48 months.
Oh, what a moment! Get out of here!
Genuinely magnificent.
My goodness, what a shot. They're slugging it out, that's for sure.
Well, the Toronto Marlies had gotten themselves a 3-1 lead, and a minute and 2 seconds later, Andreas Janssen into the offensive zone, spots the defenseman Calle Rosen following up the play, and he makes no mistake of beating McKenna, and it's now a 4-1 advantage for the Toronto Marlies after they get back-to-back goals a minute and 2 seconds apart.
Off the draw, Hall plays it back in. And now Adam Brooks shoveling it back up to the blue line, finding Moore high on the line. Moore trying to get a shot away, and Dowling stepping in the way of that one. Right back come the Texas Stars, holding up Mangine. Back over, Bayreuther winds up. Boy, hard shot, but Sparks' sensational save.
Well, Garrett Sparks got to fight through a lot of traffic to see this puck off the stick of Bayreuther. As the Stars come in across the offensive line, it's the defenseman Mangine who passes to his partner Bayreuther, and you see all three Texas forwards converging at the Toronto goal, and you got 3 Toronto players as well, so 6 players for Sparks to have to fight through to make sure he sees that puck, and he comes up with a good save to keep Texas in check.
Off the draw to the wall. Off the boards, Hall. Here's Greening back through across the blue line. Waits back, stepping in. Marincin launches one, and Hintz got it, picked it up, and right back the other way. Here's Hintz, 2-on-1, broken up. He just couldn't find Dickinson with a sharp enough pass. And the Marlies were there to make sure it didn't go sideways. Hetherington and Greening along the end board. Smith after it as well. Smith looks back out front. He tried to send it out to Frederick Gauthier. And now Ben Smith still after it. Halfway into this hockey game. And 10 seconds more as it's lifted back into the Toronto zone. But it's icing on the play. And we'll bring it all the way back. Convincing comeback for the Texas Stars early in the period. Looked like they put it together and were doing what they wanted to do, as if they had done in a couple of games in this series so far. But the Marlies stormed back.
Well, the one thing about the Toronto Marlies is they don't panic when they give up a goal against. And, you know, you talk about them being the top team in the American Hockey League during the course of the regular season. Well, they were heads and tails, no one close to them as far as goals against were concerned. 170 goals against in the regular season. Texas Stars 230 goals against coming into at the end of the regular season. So the Marlies certainly know how to tighten things down after they give up a goal to make it a 2-1 game. They just continue to forge ahead, and again, 2 goals a minute and 2 seconds apart have now given them a 3-goal advantage.
Johnson shoots, keeps it low. Mueller outside of the goal, pops up. Hintz got it in the glove, and the bodies hit the ice. And the crowd wants some help here in Texas. Long pass across the blue line, and they finally get the change in that they were looking for after a couple of icing calls. Martin Marincin onto the stick of Moore through the middle. He fires it in. Up along the near side. Elliott under a little bit of pressure there from Brooks and Moore. Marchment comes back. He picks it up. Marchment and Brooks. Moore racing to it in the near corner. Stick slashed in half, and Moore comes back over to the bench.
Well, the Stars get away with one there because Trevor Moore's sticks gets slashed in 2 pieces, and normally that's a call, but the officials let it go.
Back up at the blue line. Bodnerchuk looking in, shot off into the corner. Bodnerchuk winds up and sends it wide. Marchment to it, and now the Stars very nearly. Too many men. Mason Marchment was trying to find Brooks, but they're going to rotate off.
Well, a good stick by the defending player for Texas. That was almost a 2-on-1 break for Marchment and Brooks, but it gets broken up.
Long pass. Markuson, but Rosen right back. And he's looking for Engvall, who's still after it. Mangine doesn't get far with it. He's got to come back, and he's got Engvall to contend with as well. At his own blue line. He searches for a little bit of help, gets it, and all the way back down the ice. This runs, and another icing call for the Texas Stars. They bring it back.
Well, Callie Rosen again with the big goal to extend the lead here in this second period for the Toronto Marlies. And boy, oh boy, you know, the game-winning goal in Game 3 here in Texas.
What a series.
And another one here this evening as he has really stepped up his game. And a night when Travis Dermott out of the lineup, you wonder who's going to step up. Well,
Rosen with another one toward the goal, and well, that one caught something and went wide, but not by a whole lot. It bounces for Loverde. Along to Smith as he plays it back in. Mangine tracks it down. In behind his own goal. Gets it by Timashov, and now up ice come the Stars back through the middle, but Mangine is offside. Still chasing it though. Offside. But here is Hall. I think the linesman lost sight of what was happening there. They play it back in, and they're going to bring it all the way back on the icing call. They sure are, as they had an offside just previous to that. and nobody touched up. So they just kept playing on. They got caught up at the bench, the linesman did, I think, with guys going off and guys coming on. Ben Smith comes in, Dowling opposite him. Altonen is out as well, as not a true line out here for the Marlies as they got caught on the icing. Loverde plays it to the far side. Timashov picks it up and reverses it. Vincent Loverde up ice along the near boards. Ben Smith trying to get to it. He's tackled. Loverde captured by Altonen, but he doesn't get it out. Now picked up. Hard shot. And it hit traffic. And out front it comes again. To it. Ben Smith trying to get there. And Timashov plays it back down the ice. It rides an edge. Hall comes back after it as well. And Hall puts it at the side of the goal. And a whistle on the play. 6:30 left to play in the second period. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Introducing Little Caesars Hot and Ready 5-Meat Feast with 5 delicious meat toppings.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Including ham, pepperoni, Italian sausage, smoky bacon, and crispy applewood bacon. Just $9.99 at Little Caesars. Hot and Ready.
And then the beat comes.
Want to earn more Canadian Tire money more often on stuff you buy every day? Like 3% back on groceries, 4% back at many of your favorite stores, and 5 cents back per liter on gas. Want to make everyday shopping more rewarding? That's easy. Introducing the Triangle World Elite MasterCard. Earn more Canadian Tire money at more places. All this with no annual fee. Triangle. Life made easier.
Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain. Captain.
Captain. Captain.
Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Dave. Captain Dave!
Wimbledon. Coverage begins Monday, July 2nd on TSN.
Well, Toronto defenseman Justin Hall, such a terrific skater. It looks like it's going to be an icing call, and he's going to get on his horse and beat Hetherington to the puck, and McKenna is forced to grab it as it going to go through the blue paint in front of him, and we'll have a face-off to the right of the goaltender for the Stars. And again, the Toronto Marlies continue to lead 4-1 here with 6:28 to play here in the second period.
That one off the wall. Back out into center. Martin Marincin through the middle. Altonen finding Grundstrom with a step. Grundstrom cutting back in, and the puck in behind the goal, but Grundstrom was out front. Stick lost by McKenna, but he gets a hold of it real quick. And now right back the other way, Dickinson. Racing after him, Janssen. He had to turn back and find some friends. Bayreuther leaves it back. Dickinson along the far wall. Pressure from Janssen. Picks it up. Janssen working back. Grundstrom behind him. Janssen! Stopped by McKenna.
Well, a glorious chance for the Toronto Marlies, and Mike McKenna marked this save, because this is something that when you get off to the races like Andreas Janssen does, he did it in the first period. He scored the opening goal of the hockey game, and he has the opportunity to make this a 4-goal advantage for Toronto. And Mike McKenna comes up and waits out Janssen, and he gets that right pad out, and he doesn't allow the puck to get by him, and he is going to keep this still just a 3-goal hockey game and allow his club, the Texas Stars, to stay in the fight.
Here come the Stars. Mangine down into the corner. Rosen plays it along. Marchment's there. Lifts it back up and out. Trevor Moore is going backwards. Trying to reel it back in. Gurianov with a shot. Back up at the blue line. Turnaround shot on Sparks. He puts it in the glove. He hangs on to it. Casual. Garrett Sparks has faced 13 shots in this one. And he's been good when he's had to be. We'll be back. Scotiabank Toronto Marlies playoff hockey.
Captain.
Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain. Captain.
Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Dave. Captain Dave!
And now it's time for the ultimate Father's Day gift giveaway, the Pelican Century Angler Kayak. And guess what? You're all getting one. You get a kayak! You get a kayak! Everybody gets a kayak! Novelty mugs. They seem like a great Father's Day gift, but in reality, they're not what Dad wants. This year, give him the Master Chef Barbecue Brush, the smarter way to clean grills with natural Palmyra bristles. I dated a girl named Palmyra Bristles.
My goodness, what a shot. They're slugging it out, that's for sure.
Well, wherever the Toronto Marlies travel, there's this guy. Not Andrew Nielsen's dad, but somebody wearing a Toronto Marlies or Toronto Maple Leafs shirt. Either way, the support from Leafs Nation is absolutely incredible wherever, even deep in the heart of Texas. And now here come the Stars across the line. Dowling lifts one to the goal. Sparks hangs on and right. And then he gives Sparks a bit of a spear there with his stick.
Well, Garrett Sparks, you want to see him keep his cool here. And, you know, it's something where McKenzie gets in tight and then Sparks initiates it, you know, protecting his territory, which, hey, it's all well and good, but don't get overzealous and don't lose your focus on the task at hand. As the shot by Dowling comes from that left side, Sparks gets a piece of it, but he loses control. Then he gets that blocking glove down on top of it to get the whistle, and a little extracurricular by both him and McKenzie.
Mueller off the draw, back over Marincin behind his own goal. Off the glass, and they got by Greening. They say it touched up, didn't reach far enough anyway. Long pass up to the red line. Travis Morin finds Dowling with a step. Cutting in, Hall, shot by Dowling, and Sparks comes up with the save. Back up Hetherington at the blue line. Far side lifted in. Sparks loose puck, strolling for it. Up and behind the goal as Sparks regains his feet. Dowling again, some pressure here from the top line of the Stars. Back over, Hetherington shoots, misses. Greening picks it up and then eases it along the wall to relieve the pressure.
Wow, tremendous pressure by the Texas Stars as they look to try and cut into this 3-goal advantage for Toronto. But Garrett Sparks comes up with 2 real good saves and not allowing the Texas Stars to get this crowd back involved in this one.
Valverde, boy, he waited just a hair long on that. Tipped out, Janssen plays it down deep. Altonen comes back after it. Off the wall it comes, and up ice, L'Esperance, fighting, shoots, Sparks off the shoulder. And right back to Sparks, he's seen enough. He's going to hang on that one. Now Nielsen tied up out front with L'Esperance.
Now,
Andrew Nielsen, he doesn't mind a rough game.
No, you're right about that. 143 penalty minutes led the club this year for the Marlies during the regular season. But again, it's the Texas Stars who are trying to get something going offensively. Justin Dowling with a nice little move, a little curl and drag around Justin Hall, and then he fires the shot. Sparks with the right pad, and then the shot comes from the half wall and a redirection out in front as you've got the captain of the Stars, Curtis McKenzie, on the doorstep looking for a rebound, but Sparks does a good job of getting it to safety to the corner, and a little bit of a push for the Stars, and Sparks up to the task.
Quinn out. And Dickinson in. Adam Brooks remains. One back by Dickinson, but is picked up by Marchment. And now he and Moore convince the puck back into the Texas zone. Moore working it from behind the goal. It's off his stick. Brooks is there trying to gather in a chance. And right back in it comes. Dickinson working to it. Marchment off the glass. Takes a funny hop. Now Marchment again. Brooks, he thought he'd come back to it. Rosen picks it up, and he's got Brooks out in front of him. And a head of steam. Here's Rosen. In, shoots, scores! Rosen! How do you like that? 5-1. The Marlies with 2:53 left to go in the second period.
Well, we talked about the skating ability of Calle Rosen, how he's such a terrific skater. He's going to pick this puck up at the top of the circle in his own zone, and he gets on his horse. He's got to the right of him Adam Brooks, but he just separates himself from the defenders, and he goes in, and like he did on his first goal of the period, where he beats McKenna. Last time was over the glove, this time on the blocker side, and the Toronto Marlies have opened up a 4-goal advantage with 2:53 to play here in the second period. It's a 5-1 game.
Stunning, considering the first 4 all 1-goal games. As Timashov didn't get a touch to that, they'll bring it all the way back. Each game a little bit different. The first one, a Wild West shootout, 6-5.
Yes.
And then a defensive battle in the second, in which the Texas Stars finally beat the Toronto Marlies on home ice. Hadn't been done. And then the third game, the Marlies resilient back here in Texas. The Stars wouldn't go away in game number 4, and now here in 5. The Marlies have put together one. Nielsen. Back over, Smith. He tries a shot, comes back. Marincin with a blast, and McKenna comes up with the save.
Well, and that's one thing about this Marlies club is they continue, no matter what the score is, to have their foot on the gas pedal. And yeah, they've stretched the lead to 5-1, but they're going right after it. They want the next one again. And they do a job where they get it to the goal, force McKenna to come up with a save after Ben Smith fires this one from that left faceoff dot, and then coming in from the point is Martin Marincin, and he's trying to shoot that bouncing puck, and he doesn't get all of it. And Mike McKenna with a good save to keep this still at just a 4-goal advantage here for the Toronto Marlies.
Miro Aaltonen in for the draw as Mangine rolls around and up ice. Long one. Gurianov was there, but so were 2 Toronto Marlies, Timothy Liljegren and Calle Rosen. What a game he's had. Across the line, Aaltonen centering it. As it comes back, Janssen up high. Liljegren launches one. Still loose out front. Grundstrom was knocking at it, but they knocked him down. And now Ellie back across the line. Slices in. Slot over the far side, and they knock him down in return. Trying to get to it was Greening. Tipped back out of the zone. And hard back in. Rosen there. As he finds Liljegren. Cross ice. Aaltonen. I didn't think he recognized that one was coming up to him, and it goes all the way back down the ice on the icing call.
Well, just before the icing call, the Marlies almost got another one. It was Carl Grundstrom who's looking for his first point of this championship series. He does got 6 goals and 10 points in the Calder Cup playoffs, but hasn't been able to get on the board, but he was ever so close there, as we'll get another face-off in the Toronto zone after an icing call.
Off the draw, Greening. Liljegren, nice little tap along. Smart play by Liljegren as it's sent down the ice with a good pace. McKenzie right back across the line. The crowd likes when he has it. Dowling out of the corner, back up high. Bayreuther, he scored, winds up another one. That is into the neighbor's yard with 1:08 left to go in the second period.
Well, Gavin Bayreuther, who's got the goal early in this second period to make it a 2-1 game, but the Marlies have fought back with 3 more of their own. But a terrific 4-year career at St. Lawrence University, 29 points in each of his past 2 years, and first-year pro this year, and an outstanding season for him. 7 goals, 32 points as a defenseman here in the American Hockey League, really sort of making a name for himself here in this Stars organization.
Here's Dickinson cutting in behind the goal. Didn't quite get there, and so he sent it over to see if some open ice might help. Back over, Flynn. Greening on the backhand. Looking to tap it up ahead. Gauthier without a stick. Long launch. Didn't get far. And Smith in the way of it. Gauthier out front, trying to step around. There's the shot. Stopped by Sparks. And they're going to make contact with him. You bet.
Now that's Brian Flynn, who gives a little glove to the head of Garrett Sparks, trying to get him off his game. And cooler heads prevail here. I don't think there's going to be any calls on this, as the official talking with Garrett Sparks again. But a little D to D, and Regner with the shot, Sparks with the glove save, and then you see the left glove of the veteran in Brian Flynn gives a little slap to the side of the head of Sparks, and he's going to take exception to that. There's no question about it.
They'll set up with Adam Brooks. The beginning of the year, you watched Adam Brooks and you thought, would he get to this point? Would he be in the playoffs for the Toronto Marlies starting? He earned it. He absolutely earned it all season long. The amount of work he put in. Staggering. Loverde finding Rosen. Back up. Marchman gets it in the hip pocket. Pulls it out. And now Marchman throws it in. Backhand. Mason Marchman with a nice play. But McKenna comes up with the stop in the end with 16.3 seconds left in the second period.
Well, Mason Marchment, who's again part of this fourth line that's been so terrific for the Marlies. He does an excellent job of grabbing that puck on the fly with the left hand and then setting it back down, little between the legs move, and then the backhand shot. McKenna with the save. But the youngster Mason Marchment, whose dad Brian and his mother Kim here made their way to Texas to see their boy play in the Calder Cup finals. As Brian said, you know what, I never won any championships when I played. He said it's been a lot of fun watching his son.
Well, in the fifth game here, he's been convincing. He's been convincing throughout the playoffs. Talk about guys that have had a good year. Mason Marchment just continues to grow as a hockey player. And the Toronto Marlies continue to grow as a hockey team, up 5-1 after 40 minutes of play. Bob, this is the Marlies team that you're looking for.
Yeah, no question about it. And they give up that early goal for Texas to get back in the hockey game, but they just keep their foot on the gas pedal and they tack on 3 more themselves and have a 4-goal advantage after 40 minutes of play.
The Toronto Marlies here in Texas looking to take 2 out of the Lone Star State. We'll be back with the goaltending changes. Landon Bow comes in to take over for Mike McKenna after he gives up 5 goals.
Well, I think this is more of Derek Laxdal saying, you know what, I'm going to save my starter for game number 6 come Tuesday night in Toronto as his club down by 4, and they're going to give some experience to Landon Bow, the St. Albert, Alberta native and former Swift Current Bronco. 46 games during the regular season, 20-15-5, a 2.86 and a 903 save percentage. And here in the Calder Cup playoffs, he got 1 appearance and he got pulled halfway through the game after giving up 4 goals, and as a result he's back in here. He's going to get some more time to get some playoff experience.
Well, it's right into the fire. No time in the frying pan whatsoever. Gauthier and Dowling at center ice as the third period begins. Marincin easing it along to Colin Greening. As it comes back to Martin Marincin, looking up ice, Engvall tips it back in across the line and backing up. Gavin Bayreuther. Colin Saucer's back for Marincin, easing it back. Gauthier at the line, he kicks it back, but it's onto the stick of Dowling. Backhander in on Sparks and cleared away. Gauthier out front, but a dangerous opportunity. Turning and trying to get the shot away, McKenzie. Mangine out of the corner, looks to center it, didn't have much as he sends it to the line. Morin back behind his own goal, or behind the goal of Sparks. Mangine launches one, and up along the far side it comes. He wants it again, looks in, there comes one again, and it's off a stick and into the boards. Hall back through the middle.
Well, there's going to be no quit in the Texas Stars, that's for sure. And here in the Calder Cup playoffs, when they've trailed after 40 minutes of play, they are 3-3-1, which is pretty outstanding that they've come back 3 times to win games and lost another one in overtime. So they are a team that you cannot let up on, and because they are a dangerous squad, and they get off to a terrific first shift and apply some pressure against the Toronto Marlies.
Can't give them light. They know what to do with it. Altonen. Stick side, but it comes to Calle Rosen. Johnson tries to step by his man. Regner picks it up and comes back through center. Sends it back into the zone as Rosen tries to sweep it back up the boards. Turn around, and that one comes screaming through. Ellie, little hip check there by Vincent Loverde. He tied him up, and he tied him up just enough. And Grundstrom was looking for a break for Janssen. He won't get it. Icing on the play. And congratulations to Ben Simon, who, of course, was here with the Toronto Marlies as he becomes the head coach of the Grand Rapids Griffins. Great to see. Benny, great guy.
Yeah, he's assistant coach for the last couple of years with the Grand Rapids Griffins, and won a Calder Cup championship last year, and will take over from Todd Nelson, who's gone up to the National Hockey League.
The mischievous Ben Simon. Loverde. Cutting back toward the goal. Dickinson gets it out front, and Sparks directs it away. Rosen lost his stick in the process, comes back to it. Up high, it comes. Rope Hintz as Altonen. Back to Hintz as the Texas Stars looking to spend a fair bit of time here in the Toronto zone, and they have accomplished it. Dickinson doesn't get that one through, and it is Grundstrom who lifts it up, and it makes contact, and now Bodnerchuk and Grundstrom into a bit of a push and shove. I'm fairly convinced Carl Grundstrom can handle himself.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And, you know, we spoke of how Texas has done when trailing after 40 minutes of play, how they've been a pretty good hockey club. Well, the Toronto Marlies are 8-0 in the Calder Cup playoffs when they lead after 40 minutes of play. So they know how to get the job done, no question about it. And
that's a touch beyond pretty good.
Well, again,
I don't know anything about math, Bob. Not much at all.
Well,
but
when you are the team that leads the entire league by a big stretch in goals against, you know a thing or two about defending, and they've proven that all season long. And when you've got a lead, as they do in this one, I'm sure it's a pretty good feeling for the hockey club, knowing they've got 20 minutes to just continue to work, and they should come away with the lead in this series as they're going to head home after.
They're going to step by Liljegren, however, as Marincin comes in. Shot! Stopped! I don't know if Sparks gets a piece of this, but it goes up and out of play afterwards, and a good chance. Austin Fighton.
Well, Austin Fighton is get the opportunity after a puck that's blocked, and he's off to the races, and he's got some opposition from Marincin at the last second coming from his right, but he's got a clear shot on his own, and he's trying to go up and over the glove of Sparks, and he gets the arm on it and up and over the glass for a face-off in the Toronto zone.
Chris Mueller off the draw. Marincin up ice. Timoshaw tips it ahead. Mangine picks it up. The marching orders, no doubt, from Derek Laxdell. Set up your next game. Picked up by Timoshaw. And across into the blue line it goes. Landon Bowe looking on as he replaced Mike McKenna. after McKenna gave up 5. High to the line with some intensity. Morin off the wall. Right there is Greening. Gauthier as well. Tried to center it back over to Nielsen. Calling for it. Nielsen. Hall cuts back in. Centers that one, but off a skate and back into the corner. Knocked down by Gauthier. Works down into the corner. He's got a little bit of room and a little bit of help, but Regner won't let him go. Now Greening. Back up the wall. Justin Hall trying to keep it in. The crowd, you talk about resiliency of the Texas Stars and the Toronto Marlies in this series. How about the crowd? Pretty resilient here in Texas
They
as
are
well.
trying to will their club into getting that next goal to
Make it interesting.
Something happening.
Warren centering backhander goes wide. A little chop at the side of the goal, but it's picked up by Justin Hall. Through the middle and across the blue line. Hall still after it. Morin gets a touch as Altonen tries to get to it. He's pinned to the boards by McKenzie, and through the middle, Janssen breaks it up as Dowling has to send it back one more time. Reese Scarlett up ice, and McKenzie sends it back into the Toronto zone. After it, Gurianov. And only his second game in this series. Altonen across the line. Bayreuther has been effective for this Texas Stars club. Rosen. Here's Moore. It's it on the backhand. Tries to cut back toward the goal. Strong to the puck, but then he is dumped as 3 Stars get on top of him. Remieli centering. Moore coming back on the play. Turns around. He's got Adam Brooks over on the far side, but Remieli swipes at it. Bayreuther. Ellie right through him. Kept in at the line. Marincin sends it in. Marchment was offside, so he'll have to come back and touch up. We're 5.5 into this third period. A little step there by Bayreuther as Mueller follows up on the play. Lifted down deep. Liljegren looks up ice and he finds Timashov. And a little bit of room to run. Here's Ben Smith working down into the corner. Mueller comes back over to the far side and now tries to lift it by. Good work by Hetherington actually to get in the middle of that play as Mueller had Timashov waiting out front for a pass. Ben Smith moving it to Timashov quickly. Up the boards. Marincin, he likes that hard shot, but he gives it over to Timashov this time. And now Marincin toward the goal, looking for a little contact. Never did come. Back out. Regner across the line. Hard shot, and Sparks reaches out and grabs that one up. It was going wide, but he thought, better put my glove on that and hang on regardless. You're watching Scotiabank Toronto Marlies playoff hockey from Texas.
Dreams will be
started
certainly come draft day, and exciting for a lot of young men as they get ready
to start their professional careers. Warren picks it up, or at least get the first inkling that it could start. Here's Gauthier. Engvall trying to get back across the line. Gauthier there as well. Now here comes McKenzie. Morin and Dowling looks in, shoots, and Dowling sends it wide into the glass, and Greening picks it up from there.
Well, a turnover by the Marlies right at the offensive blue line and a 3-on-2 break for the Stars. That's not what they want to have happen here with this comfortable lead. They want to make sure they play safe, get it in deep, force Texas to have to come all the way back from behind their own goal.
Loverde pressure from 2 and Green. And Altonen trying to get to it. Speed out of the corner, around behind the goal, looking to center it out and find a way. It won't. And now Nielsen back up along the near boards. Reese Scarlett pinned to the boards by Janssen. Altonen after it. Waiting for it to pop loose is Nielsen. Altonen was able to convince it, and then turning around and a little spear by Austin Fighton. He got away with that one. As Janssen, I don't know if he quite made contact with Nielsen or not, but credit Nielsen as he and Fighton are still having some words.
A couple of Alberta boys going at it.
I don't know if their fighting works, but Back up along the far side. Hanging on at the line, Ellie looks in. Brooks doing the hard work on this one, and he disrupts the play. Adam Brooks and Carl Grundstrom coming back. Marchment to the goal. Out front, Marchment backhand! And the first real test Landon Bowe is able to stop.
Wow, a nice little pass by Brooks to Marchment going, and he just couldn't quite finish on that attempt.
Brooks, Ellie coming back. Rosen with speed. And now they both collapse into the corner.
Well, that is a great example of the speed of Callie Rosen, because one thing we've seen in this series is the speed of Remi Ellie, and he gets that opportunity, and Rosen chases him down and sweeps the puck away.
Over the far side, backing up. There's a good looking chance as it started out. But, boy, that was a kettle of hot water right there. It just evaporated. Back into the corner, Mangine. Bayreuther looks up. He's got a lot in front of him. He lifts one a long way in. It's a hard one to figure out if it's offside or not. It comes across the line. Onto the stick of Justin Hall. Back in. Mueller cuts in, shoots, and boy, Mueller lifted one to the goal. Looking for it. Timoshaw with speed back the other way. Right to it. Jason Dickinson. The crowd incensed, but there hasn't been one in this game yet. Not one penalty. Rosen across the line. Sends it in. The Marlies, one of the least penalized teams in the league, and they draw a lot as well in the regular season and over the course of the playoffs. Mangine. Right side. Hangs up. Gets support. Scarlett leans in. Sparks the save. As Greening comes back to it. Dowling out of the corner. Greening in after it as Gauthier to it as well. Kicking it about, looking for an answer. Liljegren comes in and lays and plays the heavy. Back off the wall. Curtis McKenzie. Some open space here. And they have to draw it back out front. Sparks calmly throws out the paddle. And back up at the line. Is it kept in? It isn't.
And I like the way Garrett Sparks, that move, a lot of goaltenders don't do that. He gets in the butterfly position and he gets the paddle on the goal line and makes sure the puck doesn't come out through the blue paint.
Right.
And he's done that numerous times in this series, and it's kind of a lost art for goaltenders.
Paints a good picture of that. Garrett Sparks dumping down into the corner. They haven't called it all series. They're not going to call it now. As Janssen picks it up and gets it back out. Altonen 2-on-1 with Carl Grundstrom. Pass over. Grundstrom makes no mistake. Carl Grundstrom makes it 6-1 for the Toronto Marlies. Altonen with the assist.
Well, I'll tell you, the yeoman work was Andreas Janssen as he gets the puck to Altonen to send him and Grundstrom on the 2-on-1 break. And off to the races they go, and Altonen with a full head of steam, and Grundstrom separates himself, and he makes no mistake on a terrific pass by Miro Altonen, and Carl Grundstrom's 7th goal of the Calder Cup playoffs, and his first point here of this Calder Cup final has extended the lead to 6-1 for Toronto.
He was an absolute wrecking ball out there in the 2 sweeps in the earlier rounds. In the Utica series as well. He was everywhere out there. A few game-winning goals. Back up, Mangine sends one in. Side of the goal. Scores. Sheldon drives. Gets one back for the Texas Stars with 8:38 remaining in this third period.
Well, and good on the Stars that they're not going to sit back quietly. They're going to continue to try and fight back. And the shot from the point by Mangine, and there's traffic in front. I think it gets deflected in front by Remi Ellie, and it goes right to Sheldon Dries, and he makes no mistake of depositing it in the open goal because Sparks gets caught out of position because of the puck not getting to him before it gets scooted over to his left. And a 6-2 advantage continues here now with
Here's
Toronto.
Mueller, looks in, he shoots, side of the goal. Chris Mueller wanted it back immediately. Now Ben Smith. He's got Timoshoff in the corner. Marincin out front, and a tip by Smith that goes wide. Working back, Bayreuther. Ramielli had Joel Lesperance in front of him, and Matt Mangine behind him. Out front it comes. Liljegren off the wall. There's Ben Smith after it one more time. Long pass ahead, Mangine trying to get it by. Rosen turns around and looks up ice. A couple of goals in this one. Up it comes. Dickinson across the line. As Rosen comes back to it. In toward the goal. And Dickinson was there, but he never got the puck. Right back, Greening. Sends it in. Calling Greening on the backhand. Waiting, protecting. Around behind the goal. Reese Scarlett, Janssen on the half wall. Trying to move it quickly. Stepping in Loverde as he lifts it down off the glass. Almost looked like it touched the screen. And it is lifted out of the zone. Rosen comes back to it. And that'll pop up and head 4 rows back. Well, the Toronto Marlies get another one, but the Texas Stars answer back. Carl Grundstrom got on the board. It's 6-2 with 7 minutes remaining. TSN 1050 in the NHL network. You can find it, but you'll want to be there, I think. Back across the blue line. Leading it back in, but not getting there. Loverde picks it up and finds Grundstrom, who lifts it up the wall. Little backhander. Into the corner it comes. Johnson trying to get to it. Hetherington. All the way back behind the goal. Out front. And a nice feed out front. But it is cleared out by the Marlies. As Curtis McKenzie was looking for one of his teammates. The dangerous ones. And McKenzie with a chop. Nope, that's it. McKenzie late in this game is going to pick up the first penalty, and he's going to sit down. This is one of those penalties that you can't figure. It's 6-2 with 6:28 remaining. If you indeed have it in your mind that you could possibly come back, why, after a whistle, you would come up and just chop a guy at the end of the play?
It's frustration on behalf of the captain of this Texas Stars team, Curtis McKenzie, and I mean, he has been outstanding in this series. There's no doubt about it, and he sees that his club hasn't had a lot of life through the course of this hockey game. They're trailing by 4 goals, 6:28 to play here, and he just loses his cool, and as a result, the Marlies will get the first power play of this entire game.
Moore back up. Timoshoff off the wall. He gets some big attention, and they get it by. Trevor Moore, he'll race back after it. It had to be obvious, a penalty tonight, and it had to be pretty egregious. And I'll tell you, they weren't going to call it. And getting some shots here, shorthanded. Toward the goal it comes. Picked up as the Marlies Rosen comes back into the corner. Ben Smith to it as well. Marlies certainly wouldn't mind an offensive opportunity, but they also don't mind seeing the time tick away late in the third period. It comes loose for Trevor Moore. He's got Timoshoff on the left, and a new power play unit comes by as Timoshoff was walking along, and Dickinson back-checked him and then mugged him in the process. Played back in. Garrett Sparks calmly up along the near wall as Carl Grundstrom comes to it. Gives it back to Timothy Liljegren. Drop back, Janssen, Aaltonen through the middle and across the line. Janssen hangs up and then plays it down the wall. Aaltonen toward the goal, and it's lifted back out as Liljegren comes back to it.
Well, the Marlies are only 1 for 11 on the power play through the course of the first 4 games coming into tonight, so just the lone power chance. They would love to try to get their power play working for them as they're going to head home for game number 6 come Tuesday evening, looking to win their first Calder Cup championship.
This is not the ideal power play, but they did get 2 minutes to tick by. And A.J. McLean, I'm sure, would like to have seen one that was a little bit more invested, the assistant coach. But he'll take the 2 minutes off the clock, too. Dowling, long shot. Sparks scores. Side of the goal. Travis Morin. No. Waved off. High stick. Waved off. We'll get a look at it again, but they waved it off immediately.
They're not arguing too much at all, as we're going to have a conference by the officials, but it was pretty adamant as the shot is going to be taken as Mangine puts the puck up to the point, and the shot by Dowling, and it's a high stick by McKenzie, and then on the doorstep to try and put it in is
it's the high stick on the tip,
Travis
not the goal.
Morin, but it's no goal.
We'll be back with 4:15.
Well, Derek Laxdal, the head coach here at the Texas Stars, with 4:15 to play, finds his club down by a score of 6-2, and obviously is going to be trying to convince his players that they can pick themselves up after this one, and in 2 days from now in Toronto, fight back to try and tie the series up at 3 games apiece, as the Toronto Marlies will have a 3-2 advantage as they head back in to the game come Tuesday night in Toronto at the Ricoh Coliseum.
Still fighting for it are the Stars with less than 4 minutes to play. They travel back into their own end. Engvall there after it. Down into the Toronto zone. Marincin plays it back. Out front it comes. Turning around, Adam Brooks on it as he's got Moore out to his right. He's going to carry it himself and then lift it down into the near corner. Marchman comes after it. Regner there too. And back down the ice it rolls. Andrew Nielsen will come after it. He came into this game, hadn't played in a while, but boy, he was fired up and he was ready to go, and he had his teammates in front of him doing a good job. As Sparks picks it up and plays it back over to Nielsen. Brooks right on top of him. Here's a chance, and no. Moore breaks it up and sends it out as Marchman grabs it up. Trying to get it back across the line. They do. It's offside. 2:45 left to play. This is the game, I think, that Toronto Marlies fans were looking for. This is the one and the kind of effort that they wanted. And this is the one the Marlies knew they had. And on the rebound, Ben Smith couldn't corral it. Back over Timashov, shoots, misses on the far side. Liljegren bounces one toward the goal. Timashov comes back after it here as Reese Scarlett picks it up. Back up it comes. Flynn. Scarlett looks along again as Flynn. Mueller broke it up. And now a chance for Grundstrom, but that one is going to get by everybody, and they're going to pick it up on the icing call with 2 minutes left to go. Callie Rosen, what a night.
Well, the top line, who had just 2 points, three, coming into this game number 5 here this evening, but they got the job done here in this one, as they've got a pair of goals in this hockey game. And it's interesting, we can go back to Holt Sheldon Keefe this morning saying we need to score 3 goals here today. If we can do that, we're going to win a game, because we believe in our system that we can get the job done defensively. And they were 10-0 coming into the playoff games when they've scored 3 or more goals, and it looks like they're going to be 11-0 after this one, because they've done just that again, as 2 goals against, but they've put 6 on the board here this evening.
They certainly put the cheese on the cracker in this hockey game. 6-2 is the score with 1:25 left to go. And across the line they come. The Texas Stars one more time. Mangine off into the corner. Nielsen having a chit-chat behind the goal. And Greening happy enough to put it right back out. Game 6, folks. 416-597-PUCK and Marlies.ca. That's going to get you at the game. In Toronto. And now cutting in, L'Esperance and Gauthier right on top of him. Back in, less than a minute to play. Remielli moving back high to the blue line. Regner down into the corner. Loverde lifts it back up and out. And boy, did he ever get some good weight on that one as he sent it back down the ice. Hetherington, Marlies making some changes. Hetherington drives out wide off the boards, and Lilligren stops him. Back up ice it comes. Regner keeps it in. Engvall to it. Chip back out. And here comes Marchment in alone. Closing in. Marchment. And Marchment at the side of the goal. What a play by Mason Marchment as he stays on his feet with Jason Dickinson running into him.
Well, Dickinson trying to check from the backside, and Marchment kind of comes up with the shoulder and knocks Dickinson down to nullify the play.
Brooks shoots, and he sent it up and over, but that doesn't matter. The Marlies have won game number 5 as Ben Smith comes over and congratulates Garrett Sparks. A critical game for the Toronto Marlies, and did they deliver?
Well, they really did, and this was a statement game by the Toronto Marlies, and they knew coming in all about what happens when both teams are tied at 2, and that game 5 is the pivotal game, and they came and they started the game on time today. They got the first 2 goals real quick into this one, and they coasted to a 6-2 victory, and now are 1 victory away from the elusive Calder Cup championship.
Well, the Marlies, couple of goals from Calle Rosen, and there you see Calvin Pickard and Garrett Sparks. We will be back to wrap things up here from Cedar Park, Texas in just a moment. Toronto Marlies, playoff hockey.